Hello everyone, welcome to mathematics. So today we are studying a new topic known as inequalities and linear programming. So this is the most confusing topic, but if grasping some tactics, it becomes simpler. So let us be together from the start up to the end of this topic. In this topic, we'll start with introduction to inequalities, where we'll discuss some definition of inequality, Cartesian plane concepts, and other inequality basics. Thereafter, we are going to do graphical representation of linear inequalities. We'll move up to linear inequalities in two knowns. Then finally, we are going to look at linear programming, which we are going to formulate inequalities from given information and solving linear programming problems, which is the most part which confuse a lot of students. Now let us start this topic by defining what an inequality is. So inequality is a statement which involves comparison between at least two quantities of set of values. So it involves a comparison between at least two quantities of set of values. So let us see this example. We can say that 2 is less than 3, which is true. 2 is really less than 3. So 2 less than 3, stating the relationship between 2 and 3 only. So that inequality is stating the relationship between only 2 and 3, because we have the actual value, which is 2. So 2 is less than 3. We can also say that x less than 4, but here x is unknown. So this means that x can take any value as long as it is less than 4. So x represents relationship between so many values as long as x is less than 4. So for example, you can see that x can be 3. It's true that 3 is less than 4, or even 2 is less than 4 again. Negative 2, you can also see that negative 2 is less than 4, and even negative 100 is less than 4. So the list goes so on. So you can also say x is less than 4. Then you can also have that inequality, negative 4 less than x and less than 10. So that one a compound inequality. So in this one, this means that the set of values are between negative 4 and 10 inclusive. So x is having a lot of values, but the values are between negative 4 and and positive 10 inclusive. So meaning we include negative 4 and 10 as values of x. Let us look at Cartesian plane concepts. So of course these concepts can be looked like the form 1 or from 1 week or from 2 week, but it's the most important part when it comes to inequalities. So the following are some basics, which says all coordinates are in form of x and y. So when you are being given a coordinate or have been asked to find coordinates, make sure the coordinates are in that form. We start with x then y. So for example 2, 3, so this means that 2 is for x and the 3 is for y. And another concept, Cartesian plane has two axis and y-axis and the x-axis. Sometimes we also have z-axis, but at this level we are having only two axes. So here negative values on x-axis are on the left. So from 0 going to left, those are the negative values of x. Remember, x-axis is the horizontal axis, and while the positive values are on the right. So from 0 going to the right direction, those are the positive values. And also negative values on y-axis starts from 0 going downwards, while the positive values start from 0 going upwards. So that is the other basic of Cartesian plane. And for inequalities on the Cartesian plane, you need to shade the unwanted region. So after being given the equation, make sure that your inequality or equation, you shade the unwanted region. And in terms of symbols, that symbol greater than or less than are represented by dotted line. So on the Cartesian plane, when you want to represent less than or greater than, you represent them using dotted line. So it will make sense when we are when you are drawing those inequalities. And another symbol which is less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, they are also being represented on the Cartesian plane by a solid line. So a solid line is drawn on the Cartesian plane, and less than or greater than, dotted line is drawn on the Cartesian plane. Now, before drawing the inequalities on the Cartesian plane, we need to do this part first, locating values on the Cartesian plane. So by doing this first, we are going to draw the correct inequalities on the Cartesian plane. So let us do this example. Locate the following coordinates on the graph. So we have coordinates like point A, which has 1, which is for x, and 1 for y. You have point B, -1 for x, 4 for y, and you also have point C, which has x, 4, and y is equal to 0. So according to how the coordinates are represented, remember they are represented in form of x and y. Now let us draw a graph. We have that one is for y-axis, and we also have that one for x-axis. Then we put the values on both axes. So let us start with the locating point A. So point A, 1 is for x and 1 is for y. So first of all, we need to know which one is our x axis, which one is our x. Then we go to the x-axis. So the first one is for x-axis. So our eyes should be on the horizontal axis. Our eyes should be on a horizontal axis because we are looking for one which is x. So here is our 1, so you need to draw a straight line, a dotted line, a faint one through that one. And we also have 1 which is for y, and our eyes should be on the y axis. So after that, we are going to draw that line. So you have seen that where the lines have crossed, that point is point A. So we are going to put dot where the lines have crossed. So that one is representing point A, which is 1 for x and 1 for y. So after doing that, we have located the point A. Then we have also been given to locate the point B. So for point B, we have x, which is -1, and y, which is 4. So let us start with x. So x is -1. Then our eyes should be on x-axis. So the x-axis, we already said that on x-axis the negative values are on the left. So our eyes should be on that axis, but to the left side of that axis. So -1, our -1 is there. So we need to draw a faint line. Then we need also to locate where y is equal to 4. So y is equal to 4, our eyes should be on the vertical axis. So y is positive, so our eyes should start the positive values of y starting from the 0 upwards. So where there is 4, y4 is found right there. So you have also seen that those lines that have crossed, the line of x -1 and line of y +4. So we are going to put a dot right there, and we don't forget to label, and that point is known as point B. Then let us go to C. So C is a little bit different because we are having 0 in the coordinates, in our coordinates. So for that one, we disregard 0. We don't consider 0. So 0 not be considered. So we are just going to locate exactly where 4 is. So that 4 is for x-axis. Then our eyes should be on x-axis and it's positive, and our eyes should be on the right of that x-axis. So we are just going to locate where 4 is. So 4 is that position. So we need also to label that coordinate. So by doing all that, we have managed to locate some values on the Cartesian plane. So let's go to the next slide. Let us now discuss graphical representation of linear inequalities. So let us first look at this example. So this example is saying draw a graph to show x is less than 3. Draw a graph to show x is less than 3. Now we need to draw our Cartesian our axis. So this axis needs to be labeled, and we have that values. Then they are saying we need to draw a graph to show x is less than 3. So they have already indicated that x is less than 3. So first of all, we need to say x is equal to 3. We need to say x is equal to 3. So here x is equal to 3. We need to show where x is equal to 3. So on the Cartesian plane, then they have already indicated for us that x is equal to 3, and then we are just we just go where x is equal to 3. So x is equal to 3 is that point. So on that point, maybe you have get surprised, why have I drawn that line in dotted. So that line is dotted just because we have a less than. But and I said in when I was introducing this topic, I said we have some concepts. So one of the concepts is that one. When we have less than or greater than, the line should be dotted. When we have greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to, the line should be solid. So in our case, we have less than, so we need to put a dotted line. In terms of shading, we said we need to shade the unwanted region. So here we are on 3. So we are standing on 3. So 3, the x less than, you see that the x less than is those values are found on the left. So we don't need to shade on the left, because on the left is the wanted one. We need to shade on the right, because on the right is unwanted region. Remember I said in terms of inequalities, you need to shade unwanted region. So in this case, when we can stand at the 3 and check where x is less than 3, you see that x less than 3 is on the left. So we don't need to shade that region. We need to shade the part which is greater than the unwanted region. So reaching this point, we have managed to draw we have managed to represent linear inequalities graphically. So here is your exercise. When you have time, make sure you draw those graphs and showing the inequalities. This marks the end of today's lesson. In next lesson, we are going to continue looking at inequalities and linear programming problems. So please don't miss